Michelle here with Ella Vaughn, and today I'm going to be filming another restaurant review slash hotel review. Now, in all fairness, this is the Mining Exchange is the hotel that I'm going to be talking about, but I have not stayed there. I just want to make that very clear. They are the owners of Springs Orleans, which is the restaurant, and they have a spa within the Mining Exchange, which I have an appointment to go and experience. It's the MX Spa. And I'm going to be doing that, I think, on November 9th. So at some point, hopefully I can get a review video up for you around that. But first, I want to talk about the Mining Exchange. It's a historical hotel, and it's absolutely beautiful. They own the Gold Room as well, which is an entertainment venue. I did end up, I went in and hung out in the hotel, just in the hotel lobby, just to get a feel for it. It is it feels like old money is what it feels like, but it's cool. Like there's still like the architecture, and this hotel is just beautiful. I will say that I went up to the concierge to ask about events happening at the Gold Room, and he had to he wasn't unfriendly, but he wasn't able to help me very much, which was weird because, if they own the Gold Room as well, why aren't you selling, not that they would be selling tickets, but I'm just saying, he didn't know how much tickets were for the show. He didn't know what show was happening that night, and it was on a Friday night. So, I don't know, again, it didn't bother me that much, but I did make note of it. Now, again, the hotel lobby was very, very kind of busy. There's like a mini bar. Not a mini bar, it's a smaller bar, let's put it that way. A smaller bar in the lobby where you can get coffee, you can get drinks, you can, do whatever. And you can just kind of sit there and people watch. And it's decorated in a very kind of old money kind of way. So, but I thought it was interesting, and I liked being there. But would I hang out there while I'm waiting and have a coffee or something? If I'm going to go have a spa treatment and I want to hang out, maybe. But that's only if, all the seats are taken up in the spa. I don't know that I would hang out there. It was just kind of, I don't know. The people that were in and out, they seemed like business people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they had their agenda. They had their things to do, and I felt like an interloper in this lobby. Now, what I did end up doing was, and I'll talk about the Burlesque Show that I went to at the Gold Room as well quickly, because this is all kind of owned by the same place. But I went over to Springs Orleans, and if you go through the Mining Exchange lobby, you don't have to. The Springs Orleans has its own entry, but if you go through, there's like a courtyard in between the two buildings, and it's so beautiful. The only reason why I didn't sit out there was it's kind of a wind tunnel, and it was very windy that day. But as soon as I started walking, you kind of walk across the courtyard, and it's gorgeous. Somebody was there opening the door for me. Now, I don't know to the restaurant, so I don't know if that's a normal thing or if he happened to just be walking out and I was walking in, whatever. But it made me feel very special. So I walk into Springs Orleans, and what time would that have been? It was at happy hour. Yes. So Springs Orleans, I was there for happy hour, and it was dead. There was a couple of tables of people sitting there having I guess an early dinner, late lunch, whatever you want to call it. There was a group of ladies that seemed like they were having a club meeting, and I was the only person at the bar. The only person at the bar for happy hour, and it felt desolate. It felt I don't know, I was an island unto myself, and that's not what you're looking for a happy hour, unfortunately. However, I will just point out here, again, if you're looking to have, this might be a good place for a first date. The reason why I say that, it was really quiet in there. Okay, now some of you might be like, that's awful for a first date. What if we don't like each other? There's enough to talk about in there that you can, have distracted discussion if it starts to get a little weird or whatever. But if you're on a first date and you're trying to ask questions, you're trying to get to know one another, sometimes a loud environment is a little too distracting. Do what you want, but this might be a good place for a date in general, but especially if you're trying to get to know one another, because it's quiet. And there's a little bit of privacy there too. So if you're somebody who does online dating and you're a little shy about is that you? If you're in a crowded room, you're going to have to go up and introduce yourself to a bunch of strangers before you figure out who you're actually supposed to be meeting. You're going to probably avoid that problem if you're at Springs Orleans, late afternoon, right as the happy hour begins, if you can make it. Again, all about being It's very logistical, it's very practical, but you walk in, there's only one person sitting at the bar, you can walk up and not have that awkward trying to figure out who's who kind of moment. Okay. Now, the bartenders. I was there for 2 bartenders. The first bartender, I don't remember his name. I don't remember his name. Too bad. But anyway, he was a sweetheart. He was so, again, super professional, but very friendly. You could see that I was the only one at the bar. So as he's working, he's keeping conversation with me. So God bless him. He was the only reason why that wasn't terribly boring. And he was also the one who told me about the gold room, which turns out I had a parking spot right in front of the gold room. Like I had like the queen's spot right in front, which is part of the reason why I went to the show, because I was like, who's going to give up this parking spot? Not me. You know, I got to make use of this. So the bartender kept me company. I don't recall. I don't think I ordered anything special. They had some mixed drinks there. Wasn't a huge fan of some of them. One was like a cherry bourbon drink. It has sort of like, they have a lot of gin drinks there. I think it's supposed to be like old world kind of drinks. Not my cup of tea exactly. But they were okay. Would I order them again? Probably not. Next time I went in there twice actually for not happy hours, just at past happy hour the second time. But I just got a beer and just sat there. And again, even when I went back another time in the evening, there was like one couple sitting at the bar. And the rest of it was completely empty. So going back to the happy hour, they have a great happy hour special, by the way. I don't recall what it is off the top of my head. I've experienced a lot. I've been looking at a lot of different menus, so I don't want to get places confused. But look it up online. I'll leave a link to their website below. But I remember it was like, this is a good deal. It feels like an upscale kind of environment, and it's very New Orleans kind of themed, like you know, was it like Fat Tuesday kind of themed? Mardi Gras, that's what I'm thinking of. I always go to the day where you can eat the most, right? No, it's not, it's Mardi Gras. Anyway, it's Mardi Gras kind of theme, but again, not overdone. Very subtle. Well, I guess the big mask on the wall isn't that subtle. It's a little creepy. It's above the bar, but it was beautiful. The place is beautiful. So I really love the bartender who helped me first, and then they switched shifts, I guess. And another bartender came on. He was equally attentive and lovely. He watched over my stuff while I ran off and had to feed the meter. Just good people. You can just tell that they're good people. I did eat there that night for happy hour, and then I did eat there one previous time. Great food. I mean, I've never had bad food there, ever. Nor have I ever had bad service. I was with... some of you, if you watch my other channel, you know I was friends with somebody who ended up being quite the narcissist. I was with her for lunch, and the waiter was not mean to her by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a healthy-minded individual, and you could tell he was picking up, like, he didn't like her vibe too much. And I'm like, buddy, I'm with you. Like, can I come with you? I'll work here. Like, I don't want to have lunch with her. She's mean. But, you know, even then, even in that kind of difficult situation with her being so pushy and bossy, and like, she was one of those types. Nothing was good enough on the menu. She needed to have something special, and he handled it like a champ and was super professional. So I really enjoy that place. I think it'll be a good standby for me, but that would be if I was out on a date with somebody and I wanted someplace nice to go where it was quiet, we weren't going to be crowded, you know what I mean? That's another thing I should mention. There's a lot of space in there. A lot of space, and they even have an upstairs kind of thing, and they have an open kitchen, so you can kind of see the workings and what's happening and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think this would be like a good standby for me if I were, like, let's say I had somebody visiting from out of town and they want to go somewhere, we would want to just catch up. We can talk, right? It's not like there's going to be blaring music or people bumping into us or what have you. So, been there a total of 3 times now. Once was for the exact happy hour. One was for sort of like a late lunch, early dinner. And then the third time I was there was just after happy hour. And I've never seen the place packed. It's my understanding that they do get packed, but the only downside, I would say, there was the latest time I went there when I just was having a beer, there was a hostess at the front, not the friendliest. She wasn't rude, but I felt like I was having to do the work. Like, can I sit somewhere? Hello, you there? So I don't know what that was about. And obviously humans have bad days every so often. So again, she wasn't rude. She wasn't like off-putting. It was just like, hello. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Great place to go. Oh, no, we can't leave it there. I didn't tell you about the Burlesque Show. Okay, let's talk about the Burlesque Show. So remember, all this is all owned. The Gold Room. There's the fuzzies from my sweater. The Gold Room, the Mining Exchange, and Springs Orleans. And I think I heard somebody say that actually the people who own the Mining Exchange also now own the Antlers Hotel, which is another historical hotel, which I have not explored, not seen. So anyway, per their suggestion, I went over and I was trying to get tickets online. They were supposed to be $15 online for just like the regular seats, and it was $25 for a VIP table for the Burlesque Show at the Gold Room. And the VIP table, they're 4 tops, and they're right down by the stage. Now, for whatever reason, I could not get a ticket online. It just would not go through. I was trying to use my phone. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I don't know. But I used a couple of different browsers. It wasn't working. So I go on down there and I walk in, and the people at the door were super, like, already fun. Like, this is already a good time. But they did charge $20 at the door. And I was like, $20? You know, it was supposed to be $15 online. It's $20, you know. I meant to get the ticket ahead of time. I tried from the concierge at the Mining Exchange and didn't have any luck there. Didn't have any luck on whatever. Extra $5. Okay, here, fine. So I gave them my $20. I come in, and it's not as big as I had expected. The stage is actually pretty small. It's a very elongated kind of setup. So in the back are the high tops, the bar high tops, and my table had 3 chairs around it. The bar is kind of at the end of the long hallway, and there is an upstairs balcony. And then, of course, they had the tables down below were the VIP tables. And there was one thing that bothered me about this experience, and that was I went in and I had a table, okay, and I had my stuff sitting down. About, I don't know, 5 minutes before the show started, there was a guy sitting at a table by himself right in front of me. This couple just came in. He was off getting a drink. They just came in and took his table. And I'm sitting there watching this whole thing like, well, maybe he knows them, you know, like, and what business is it of mine? But then when I saw the guy come back, and he was a little stunned and like, okay. And so he didn't say anything. He just sat down. I'm like, oh my God, that poor guy. They just totally hijacked his table. Here comes a couple coming and sitting at my table. Now the woman was like, are these seats taken? And I'm like, no. Here's my thing with that. I do a lot. Like, I'm always hopping to and fro. I love experiences. I'm on the go all the time. So even when I'm in a town, like when I was in New York and I had friends, here I kind of had to just get rid of a lot of my friends because they storied 11 on that one. It's just too much to get into. But I don't like waiting on people. Like, I want to go, you know, and do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I don't want someone whining like, oh, I don't like the food here, me. You know, I just want to go and experience things on my own. So I'm alone a lot when I go to these things. And one of the annoying things, and I would really encourage everyone to pay close attention to this, tell your friends, put it on a t-shirt, advertise it for me. When you see somebody who is sitting by themselves at a table and you need an extra chair, go look at all the empty tables first, okay? Go take a chair from one of those. Or go to a waiter or waitress or something and say, hey, can we grab an extra chair? If it's a classy place, the waitress or the waiter will come over and be like, excuse me, would you mind if we grab one of these? If there's no other empty tables, do you mind if we grab a chair? Okay, no problem. Even if you're going to grab a chair from a table that has one person sitting at it, do not grab the chair that's directly in front of them or beside them. It's rude. Oh, where? You've obviously never been in that situation then if you have that reaction, because it's horrible, okay? Pretty soon when people start cherry picking all your chairs from the table that you're sitting at, now you feel like the stockroom table, and people start treating you like you're the stockroom table, and they start throwing junk on your table. They forget that there's a human being sitting here. I have a right to take up space, right? So that's I come to the table with my own mental issues around that, but I will fight for them, okay? Like, I will fight for my beliefs around that. Anyway, back to the Burlesque Show. So the show's about to start. It's about 1 minute till. This woman wants to take the chairs, and I'm like, okay, fine, you know, whatever. I'm gonna feel like the stockroom table. I'm gonna be here all by. Oh, they're sitting here. Oh, they're sitting at my table. Okay, so I moved my stuff, and I wouldn't have had a problem if they were I wouldn't say that they were mean, but they were a little stuck up. They were a little stuck up. I don't know how else to put it. They didn't sit down and introduce themselves. They didn't even say, thank you so much. Nothing. They didn't acknowledge that there was another person sitting at the table. And honeys, that was my table. And they didn't even acknowledge or say anything. So I had a little problem with some of the crowd and some of the thinking, the mindset. There were some hecklers in the audience that the MC handled like a champ. I guess that was the only burlesque show I've ever been to. So I guess in those situations you will attract a certain kind of crowd. But it just bothered me that these women sat down and then proceeded to just ice me out. And I didn't even feel like I could move in my chair, because at one point I kind of looked over my shoulder to see if there was a line at the bar. I was going to go get a drink, and they were behind me making out, which was really uncomfortable. They're like making out, and then they give me a dirty look, like turn around. But besides that, the show was good. I hate to say this, but for $20, I felt like that price was a little high for the production value. And again, it's nothing against, I'm coming out of New York. I've never seen a show in Vegas. I've never seen a burlesque show in New York, but I've been a part of theater, and this was sloppy. I'm sorry, guys. I love the people who were involved. I thought they were great. I was like rooting them on. Nothing like seeing a beautiful woman up there with her mommy belly and she's shaking it. I mean, yes, sister, you shake it. I want to jump up on the stage and shake it with her. Show off my cellulite, whatever. My tummy rolls. Let's do it. But I don't know. The reason why I say the production value was sloppy, it was a themed evening. So they had these monitors, and they would play clips of movies, and then they would introduce, I'm sorry for all the floaties. This is crazy. This is my sweater shedding. But anyway, they would play these really long clips. It was too long. They were just too dang long. And then there would be this awkward, that shuts off. And then a huge, uncomfortable pause with nothing happening. And then the music would start. And then that's when the dancer would come out. So there was no okay, I don't know. I'm pretending like I know what I'm talking about, and I don't. But I would have expected there to be more consideration put into the transitions. And there were just too many awkward pauses, to the point where people started using that opportunity to get up and go get a drink. Because next dance is going to be a minute. I don't know what's happening. So there was that. The MC, I want to talk about him. He was funny. He was good, and he was holding it together. And I think he's one of the founders of the troupe. Him and the other guy that founded it, both great dancers. The one guy was doing backflips and being crazy, and I was like, woo! Here I am with a headache. I got these snotty people sitting at my table making out. And I was still in a good mood. They still put me in a great mood. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But the MC, he impressed me, because I didn't think he was actually a dancer. Usually MCs are MCs for a reason, right? Because they're not a part of whatever's going on. So he was saying, if you guys are good, because it's all supposed to be fun, flirty, a little bawdy, it's supposed to be that kind of style, right? So he was like, if you guys are good, I'll dance for you later. And we're all laughing. I don't know if everybody else was in on it, but I'm sitting there oh, he's just kidding. And then he danced. He knows how to work a crowd, okay? He knows how to get people screaming. And it wasn't even like they don't do super dirty dancing or anything like that. It's not like a strip show. It's not like that. But it was just how he did it. It was just great. It was just really wonderful. And it was a good night overall. Would I go back right away? Probably not. And certainly, if I did choose to go back, it would be if I had some people with me, and we could get as I knock things around, we get tickets ahead of time, or even if I did choose to go on my own. I, honest to God, think I would try to claim, I know this sounds selfish, but I would try to claim my seats. And if I saw, in the example I gave you, there was a dude just sitting there by himself at the table, I should have tapped him on the shoulder and been like, hey, are you here by yourself? You want to share a table with me? That way the couples won't come in here and take over our tables and alienate us, Invite people to come sit with me. That way, maybe we have a chance of talking to one another and not having to keep your eyes forward because, these people just come over and take over your table and decide to make out, But yeah, it was an interesting crowd. There were moments where I was uncomfortable, where it was kind of like, again, with the people making out. There were some rowdier people where I was like, how far is this going to go? Like, sit down. But you know, they started kind of treating the dancers like they were strippers. I don't know if that's normal, but it started to feel like a different kind of show at one point. And it wasn't because of the people putting it on. It was because of how people were reacting to it. I don't know. But anyway, now we can end the video. There's that. If you have any questions, just let me know. And of course, as always, I'm sending you so much love. Take care.